No, the last podcast I was on told me that I could come back at any point, but they haven't followed up on that, so I'm like, that's probably fine. I probably just messed it up because
Listen, Jackson's not here to give us our sick cold opens.
You know, I had this realization just a second ago that as soon as we start recording the podcast, I feel like I drop 30 IQ points, especially when I'm editing later. I sound like the dumbest person on planet Earth. I'm just sitting there like, why did I say that? And why can't I speak straight? And how did I not remember this? It's the worst. I mean, it's awful.
I got bad news for you, buddy.
I know, right? Yeah, you don't have to finish that.
I've got really bad news.
Yeah.
You just always sound like that.
See,
you just only notice it because you actually listen to the podcast.
I know I always sound like that. That's the problem. But also, as I was thinking that, I looked over on my desk and I found these 2 sticks of butter that I have softening because I'm baking later.
Damn.
And my room is the warmest room in the house because we kind of turned our heat off to save on heating bills.
Well, is it because you have your desktop running 24/7?
No, it is because I have this space heater. It's pretty great.
Oh, nice.
Mine's only the warmest room in the house because I have a desktop and a mini fridge.
Yeah, no, my desktop actually runs pretty cool.
My room's the coldest in the apartment. I have the fan running almost constantly to try and get the hot air circulating, but in the middle of the night, it's freezing.
Until I got the space heater, my room was the coldest room.
Who could it be?
Oh my gosh,
guys! Look at that!
Jackson.
It was a sick intro. Oh wow, Jackson! Jackson fulfilled his dream and been able to become gender bent Jackson.
Hello, I am. I don't have a good female Jackson name, unfortunately.
Jackie.
Yeah, Jackie would have been the easy one.
Jackie.
Sorry
that's so boring.
It's Jackson.
That's a good point.
If Jackson did gender bent
credit.
Jackson, he would have gone full into like some sort of anime name. He would go the whole way.
He would go like Jacksonia or something like that.
Shoot.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, but I thought that was pretty bad.
No, it's terrible. What do you mean it's not bad?
Because it's perfect.
My name's Jacksonia. I like Ernest Hemingway and craft beers, and I'm not like other girls.
Ooh, there we go. That's the best Jackson impression I've heard all day.
Damn. That was, oh boy.
As far as like
not even here.
Jackson caricatures go, that's right up there with the pictures Edge draws where his shirt just says anime titty on it.
Yeah.
It's like these are neck and neck.
I'm glad he's not here so I can come for him full force and he can't do anything about it because he has
As if he would anyway.
No, he has some receipts on me, man.
Oh no.
It's a good thing that he's not here.
See, this is why it's perfect then. He's going to need to have you back on here just so that he can like come back at you.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Maybe that's not a good sell.
That might be.
It sounds like a good sell to me. Sell that drama.
Sell the tea. Spill that tea, sister. God, I can't use that slang. It does not sound natural coming from me.
I don't even understand what's going on.
God, it's
you
like
don't know that?
The beauty community on YouTube tries to like use this really effeminate slang, and it's just annoying to me. So
oh, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You know, like Kermit the Frog
makes me
drinking his
wanna die.
tea. Spilling the tea is kind of like spilling the beans, but not for someone who's 90 years old.
It still sounds like you're like 90 years old, except you're also gay.
Yeah.
And just trying so hard.
Yeah.
What is it the young people do? They like the lizard that drinks beverages, right?
No, they would know Kermit. Come on. Give them some credit.
See, some
They know
people
who Kermit
don't,
is.
though. It throws me off real hard.
That's weird.
Yeah, right?
I don't believe that.
I have a friend who works in Jim Henson's Creature Workshop, so I got like cred above cred when it comes to puppets. I
can't believe you're flexing on us this hard right now.
I was
We
gonna
have
say,
nothing
Jesus.
to come against this.
Little did you know when you asked me to talk about D&D that I would also be able to flex real hard.
Show us up.
Speaking of, I guess it
to
would
show how
be
much
a good time to actually say who you really are, Jacksonia.
Oh yeah.
I know everyone was super convinced, but
that I really,
boom,
yeah, because I roasted myself so. Yeah, no, I'm Nina, and I'm here to talk about D&D, even though I'm comparatively a noob. I've only been playing for like a year and a half, maybe, but whatever.
I mean,
hey, that works.
That's
how long does it really take to get familiar with it? If you have a good DM, you're probably fine after like 2 months.
I wouldn't
Depends
even
on
say
how
2
into it you
months.
are.
As long as
I
you
have friends of
actually feel
mine.
like committing to it, if you have a good DM, then everything's good.
Exactly.
What was that supposed to mean, Noah?
I'm just trying to
Why-
say you
why-
left
why'd
us
you say it
so
that way?
alone and unguided in this big,
Why did
ugly
you-
city.
Why'd
It
you
looks
say it
like
that
a
way?
butt. I need to get a picture of that so I can show everyone
Oh, please
your
don't.
Is it like a
diarrhea-spewing
map?
butt city.
Is it a poorly
Yeah,
drawn map?
I do. So besides playing D&D, Nina, what all do you do? Let's give the audience
Yeah.
a real scoop.
Yeah,
Oh,
go
yeah,
ahead.
let me
real
give
Give us a
them,
rundown on you.
Let me paint them a picture.
I see what you did there.
See, because all right.
Uh-huh. I got it. That was good.
The joke is, I'm an artist. I'm an artist. I do character design and illustration. Because of that, and because I also play D&D, most of my what's the word I'm looking? My customer base is people who want me to draw their D&D character, so that's really fun. And I also write some stuff. I just finished a novel. It's about 150,000 words long, which is too long.
Jesus.
Yeah, I need to edit that. But other than that, that's what I do. That's my life.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
So you're one of the rare artists in the world that actually makes a living being an artist.
That's probably putting it generously. I mean, I make enough money to like say that I'm a professional, but it's all supplemental income. I classify it as like hobby income. So yeah.
Ow. See, I was trying to give you so much more credit.
No, I'm gonna be honest here.
Why? No, we aren't.
I appreciate someone here being honest. At least it's
Someone
not
has
just
to
me.
be honest. If it's not going to be
Oh.
one of you two, then I guess it's got to be your guest.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a guest.
Yeah.
I can handle it. Not all your guests can, I'm sure, but I can.
All of our one other guests
Yeah, I'm
so
throwing
far.
shade at the one other person.
Yeah, Edge,
Aw.
take that. Screw you. You couldn't handle this.
To be fair, the reason she couldn't handle it is because she just joined in. Like,
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
problem. Edge is just as dishonest as the rest of us.
It was a freaking disaster. You made your weird,
That was my
creepy joke.
favorite
And she
episode.
really rolled hard with that joke, and I didn't like that.
My favorite joke in the entire show of all time. Go
Wait,
back and
which
listen.
one
That's
was
what
this?
episode 11?
Episode 11.
It was wow. How do you know the episode?
Because it's my favorite episode.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember what episode
I
this
think it's
is.
episode
half the
11.
time.
I don't remember anything that you guys talk about.
I mean,
Like,
that's
I mean, that's
fair.
probably for the best.
I remember what. Oh, no, it wasn't 11 because that was episode
8?
9.
7?
Episode 9
9?
was her first episode. Episode 11 was the creepypasta one.
Oh, I was so close.
Mhm.
It was episode 9. I said something to the effect of like, oh shoot, it was.
He alluded to being a pedophile.
I alluded to the reason that I didn't
like
talk
that
to.
on a podcast.
Thank you.
I alluded to something to the effect of like the reason Edge and I stopped talking after she turned 18 was because I was only interested in her because she was underage. That was the actual joke.
No, that's the joke
But
that
Edge
she
rolled
made.
the fuck with it.
Because she said after you said something really weird, she's like, "Is that why you stopped talking to me when I turned 18?" That's what happened.
So good.
Oh, so
Go back,
uncomfortable
listen.
for me.
It's like right at the beginning of episode 9.
Oh
Go
my
back,
God.
listeners, and listen to that.
And if
You're
it's an
gonna,
episode
you're
man.
gonna
9,
get Shane Dawsoned, man. When you get famous, someone's gonna pull that shit out, and you're gonna have to deal with it.
is that what happened to Shane
I
Dawson?
realized that. I mean, it happens to a lot of people.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it happened to what's his name, the director.
R.I.P. Moment of
director.
silence.
I don't remember his
Tia.
name. Gunn. Some
Guy who
James
did
Gunn.
Guardians of the
James Gunn.
Galaxy. James Gunn.
Yeah, Guardians
I
of
knew
the
it was Gunn
Galaxy.
something.
That was unfortunate.
That was really
really
fun.
was.
I'm not
And-
gonna air on live anything my opinions on what went down with that, but it was unfortunate.
It really was.
It was. Yeah.
And you know what's kind of
It
funny
was-
though?
No.
Warner Brothers picked him up for DC, and he's going to be directing some of their movies now.
Yeah, he's directing the new. He's directing. I think. Shoot, he just got a. Was it Suicide Squad? Was he directing the new Suicide Squad?
I'll be
He was
honest,
directing
if he
something.
directs
that
the new
might
Suicide
actually
Squad,
fun-
I would like it. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that was the whole problem, was that Suicide Squad was trying so hard to like emulate
Yes.
the same vibes as Guardians, but they had none of the structure and none of the like
Heart.
writing, the good writing. So it ended up being a train wreck.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
couldn't decide. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
He's in talks to write and possibly direct Suicide Squad too. That's so
That
good.
would actually probably save that movie.
Because like
Man,
the first
I
movie
still
just
feel weird
couldn't
about that
decide
movie.
whether it wanted to be serious or not, and I feel like if it had gone serious, it would have been way better because they
I feel
don't
like if
know
it
how
had
to be
gone
funny.
full ridiculous, it would have been also been fine.
I think that, yeah, exactly. There were two routes they could have gone. I feel like if the plot had followed something smaller scale and been more serious, or if it had kept the big ass, like, oh, beam in the sky thing, but they'd gone a little sillier with the heroes, like, that could have worked. But they didn't go either. And now we're stuck with, this is Katana. She's got my back.
I will endlessly defend, and I'm blanking on her name. Wow, she was the Harley. I'm blanking on her name. I know Will
Robbie.
Smith.
Margot Robbie, yeah.
I will endlessly defend Margot Robbie and Will Smith in that movie because I thought they were amazing. They carried the hell out of that movie.
They were trying hard.
I also think that the Joker got fucking gimped.
I do too.
I thought he was actually a really solid Joker, and people gave him so
I think that
much
he's
shit.
a really interesting take on the Joker because in the 50s, the Joker, during this, okay, I'm about to out myself as a huge comic nerd. In the Silver Age of comics, when like the comics code was a huge thing and people couldn't put violence in their comics, the Joker was like this weird kind of gangster, but more of a prankster thing. And I think that like they were kind of going with that gangster from like the early Batman comics with what they were doing, but like a modern version of it, and it was actually kind of cool. They just the movie was just so bad.
Yeah, they really didn't. They really well. And did you hear after it came out that like he had like an extra like full hour of footage, enough footage that they could have made a Joker movie?
Yeah, no,
that they just cut.
And that's the reason that I think they couldn't have gone in the funny direction, because when they recorded it, it was a much darker movie.
Oh yeah, and then they backtracked it because of Guardian's success and stuff.
I mean, look at their first preview. Their first preview was solid, and then they did the one with Bohemian Rhapsody, and that was a bad preview.
Oof.
And it made me really scared for the rest of it, and spoiler alert, the rest of it turned out just like that preview, a hot mess.
Hot mess. I think
there were some jokes that I still think landed really well. I still appreciate the man who can climb anything, and then like 5 seconds later, he's gone. Like that.
I don't even know.
That's my favorite.
I don't think that was intentional. But I think it was funny.
I don't think it was, but I think it was hysterical nonetheless.
I think my favorite genre of YouTube video, because it counts as its own genre at this point, so many have been made, is video essays on why Suicide Squad is so bad. There's like 80, and I love all of them. They're all right. They all point out different stuff. Yeah. It's amazing.
Well, and it's almost like it's just a bad movie from beginning to end. Like it's just not good. And I wanted it so badly to be good.
But it's like entertaining still, which is it's like the room of superhero movies, because like there have been other bad superhero movies, but they haven't been as fun to watch.
Actually, I really like the comparison. I really, really like that comparison.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I would watch Suicide Squad again because I didn't hate it that much. I enjoyed it enough to watch it.
I saw it twice in theaters.
Things that
I almost did.
It's one of those things that I really enjoyed watching, but like know that it's terrible. Like, who boy, is it a bad movie. I dare Jackson to fucking fight me on this one.
I don't think we ever talked Suicide Squad.
See, he would want to argue just for the sake of being like, Dan, you hate every single movie. But at the same time, I don't think he could argue that Suicide Squad is a like.
Oh, but he would anyway.
He would do it for the bit. He would do it solely for the bit, and I respect that. I respect that effort.
I feel like he might not go further than, here's Dan talking about bad movies again.
No, I think that he would play it up to and like harp on some of the worst parts in the movies as being positives. He'd be like, and the colors were amazing. And I'd be like, yeah, okay.
My favorite was the incredibly three-dimensional character El Diablo, or whatever his name was.
He was the only character with a backstory. Yeah, I actually really liked.
And I'm so angry what they did with him. That's so.
That's like,
there were some good characters in there, and then they just kind of gave up.
Like, for credit where it's due, I think the movie did a really solid job of actually establishing like how characters react to situations and like who the characters were at like a first glance, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone was like El Diablo was amazing simply because like he was fucked up, and he made a big thing about how he's not okay.
Yeah, and that was, and he tried really hard, which I appreciated, was how they showed that he wasn't up for it, and not in the way that the others were, because the others were all like, I'm a bad person, I'm not going to do good things. He was just scared of himself and very honest about it.
Yeah, and very upfront about it, and to the point where like when he finally goes batshit like at the very end, it's like everyone's rooting for him because boy gonna do some shit. And then there was Killer Croc, and like fuck Killer Croc.
What the fuck did they do to Killer Croc?
What even was Killer Croc doing in that movie? Why was he even there besides to just swim through the fucking thing at the end? Like that's
Killer
literally
Croc.
all.
I will forever I will forever be so mad because they won Best Makeup at the Oscars against fucking Star Trek Beyond. And I'm still furious because the only like thing that people pointed to was like Killer Croc. They're like, oh, he spent 4 hours in the makeup chair. And I'm like, that is nothing. That's nothing.
Yeah. That's not a lot.
I'm surprised
at
they
all.
got it down to 4
It's
hours,
a
honestly.
Latex Max. He couldn't even talk with it on. Like, he couldn't even move his mouth.
Wait, so you're saying every time his mouth moved was CG, but he won Best Makeup?
No, he could every time his mouth moved, if we can call it that was his mouth moving with the mask. But did you notice that like it doesn't move though? It's like kind of.
I mean, he had like one line in the entire movie, and that was grinning at a Tech Nine music video at the end.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, I'm gonna be mad about that forever. I usually don't give a shit about the Oscars because they aren't a good measure of like movies or anything.
Because you already know no matter what happens, you're going to be disappointed with what they have to say.
How could you say something so controversial and yet so brave?
Side note, freaking Hereditary didn't get a single mention. And I'm so mad. It didn't get nominated for anything.
What the fuck?
And
Hereditary, I couldn't even see it because like it looked really good, but when I heard how good it like from people who had seen it how good it was, I was like, I know I'm not going to be able to sit through that.
Oh my gosh, it was
person.
such a good movie. I think it was the best movie to be released like this year. Quiet Place can take the best like new concept, but Hereditary was just so good.
I think that Quiet Place, was a great concept, and it was executed well. I think it definitely had a lot of weak points, though, and I think that Hereditary was, from what I've heard, again, haven't seen it, but from what I've heard from people, it was just overall well executed and well constructed.
The complaint I've gotten most from people when I say it's like a great movie is they're like, "What? No, it's not. The end sucked." And
same at The Quiet Place, though.
Yes, same at like every horror movie, to be totally honest.
Honestly.
But it didn't suck that much. It was just like a kind of a cop-out ending. It felt kind of cheesy compared to like the rest of it.
Yeah.
But also it 100% felt like the ending that was coming, so I wasn't mad.
That makes sense.
So before we get too far off topic with from Suicide Squad, rather.
Oh yeah, you're right. Let's get back on Suicide Squad.
Guys.
Oh, that's not.
Right.
Oh yeah, Suicide Squad, aka D&D.
Every D&D game, every D&D game.
You know, that would actually explain a lot about Suicide Squad, as if it were actually a D&D game.
Oh man,
that would be better.
Have you guys ever read that webcomic that does like all the Star Wars movies as if they were a co-op game?
I have not, but that sounds amazing.
Here, I'll find a link for you. It's called Darths and Droids, and it's amazing. I don't remember.
They did all six of them, I think.
How far are they in
right now? At least all three of the prequels.
I think they did the 6 originals, and I think they're almost done with Rogue One right now.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna have to do that because
there you go.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, they're actually like literally right at the last second of Rogue One.
Tight.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as like webcomics go, firstly, their footnotes are fantastic. Each like comic panel has like a book of footnotes to read if that's what you're into.
Oh, yes.
And it's really good like reading, like watching the people get used to the fact that this is not your average D&D game and they're like in technology land now.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
R2D2 is the character who plays R2D2 is just like that guy of the group, because of course he is.
I would expect nothing less.
One of my favorite exchanges from the beginning, the silver robot from the episode 1 coming in saying, "I'm TC-14, a protocol droid." And the guy playing Obi-Wan is like, "Droid." And the guy playing Qui-Gon is just like, "Oh, it means butler." And the DM's like, "No, droid means robot."
Oh, no.
It's just like, well, that's a stupid name. Why wouldn't you just call it a robot?
Man, was Star Wars the first? No, I'm about to get off topic again. But was Star Wars?
No, go for it. I'm always down to talk Star Wars.
Was Star Wars the first thing in popular media to like popularized droid as a shortened term of android?
I believe, but only because most places hadn't done it yet. But I can't 100% verify. It's the first one that I can think of because I know like stuff like Star Trek, which came before, would only call them androids or whatever the fuck they were called.
Yeah, because
Star Trek.
Whoever made the droid phone, they did have to get like Lucas's permission to use the word.
Right. Yeah.
Man, I would hate that. Can you imagine being a legitimate like tech person and you have to ask George freaking Lucas to use his word?
Can you imagine just being anything and having to ask George Lucas for anything? Like, honestly,
Mr. Lucas, may I have some more?
Now, I also want to say, like, prequel memes aside,
it rhymes.
Can you imagine the people that still try and say that the prequels are better than the new ones coming out?
Oh, my brother tried that for a little while.
That's a rough opinion. I love the prequel memes, and I think they're real funny, but memes stop when it's, like, clearly wrong.
Clearly.
I've got bad news for your brother, Nina. He might just be dumb.
He knows. He's going to listen to this podcast. I talked to him last night, and he told me he would.
I'm so excited.
Well, Nina's brother, you're dumb, and the new ones are better. Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie. I will actually fight anybody.
It's Sammy. That's his name. He and I always do this thing after we watch a new movie where we'll do a 2-hour like breakdown of what we thought of everything. And my mom is not used to this. She doesn't watch movies with us often, but she watched The Last Jedi with us. So after The Last Jedi, we're in the car in Puerto Rico talking about this. And we're like, complaining about like Snoke's death or something. My brother was. And my mom was just like, why are you bitching about this? We just watched the movie. Shut up. I'm
amazing.
Like, you're new here.
Amazing. This is a new experience for you. Anyway, the reason I brought up Drives and Droids originally was because I would actually really love to see them do something with Suicide Squad. I think that would actually be hysterical.
Yeah.
Like, I think that actually would look really, like, breaking down the movie, like, playing through them, or turning the movie into a webcomic as if it were a D&D game, because it just makes sense.
Damn.
Like, it actually,
the
movie makes so much more sense in that way.
It would.
Is there really?
Everything about it would make much more sense, from the villain to like the way that like so many of the characters behave.
To the way that characters fuck off, because some of the characters just fuck right the hell off.
The guy that can climb anything just being like, no, I'm sick of this character. Let me just kill myself. And then he goes and dies and takes over like Katana.
Somebody like week 2 was like, I actually really don't. I think I'm gonna have time for this, and the DM had to find a way to kill him off.
Yeah. And then like one of the characters, Captain Boomerang, fucking fucks off, and
that's right. Yeah.
And then he comes back 2 minutes later. So I'm guessing what happened there was like, it's in character for him to leave when he's told he can, and the DM's like, I guess that you can't play anymore then, and he's like, wait, I'll come back.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. God, this actually, Noah, I need you to do me a favor and like send this to me, like at me on Twitter about this, because I would love to do this.
Yeah,
this is an unironically great thing to do.
It's a great idea. If only like I had the time to do a webcomic, I would straight up, but I do not.
I was about to say, do you want to get in on this with us?
I could. The only thing I'd be able to do would be like concept design, because that's my area. I cannot do webcomics. I tried. I did, and it did not go well.
See, that's the nice thing about this, though, is since nothing needs to be drawn, all we would need to do is find ourselves some nice clips that make sense and lay them out in a comic format.
Oh, that's
the downside of that is that we would have to watch Suicide Squad a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Is that really a downside? I mean,
it's not an upside.
I can already quote most of that movie word for word.
That's...
I mean, how all the, 30 lines of actual dialogue? Oh man, that movie. Anyway,
just D&D.
We're trying so hard to D&D.
We are trying really hard.
OCID, do not steal.
OCD.
That's
D&D.
Oh god, D&D. That's the thing. Okay, so recently I started a new campaign and I'm playing. Okay, let's get this out of the way. Do you guys say tiefling or tiefling? Because I get
They're
shit.
Tieflings.
Thank God.
I say tiefling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I know some people who say tiefling, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill you because
send them to this podcast. To about 20 something minutes in, and we will tell them it's wrong. It's pronounced tiefling.
Yeah,
exactly.
But I'm playing. Official hard stance is tiefling.
It's tiefling. I swear to God, I will at Wizards of the Coast on Twitter right now.
They try to say it's tiefling.
No, I want them to confirm for me so that I can say that they're behind me on this one.
Okay, I was about to say.
But no, I'm playing a tiefling druid right now in one of my campaigns. And he looks pretty cool. I did some character design with him. I actually made I'm about to flex again. But I actually made front page. I made front page on Reddit with his design in the D&D subreddit. And I got a lot of it was fun. I got a lot of support. People were really cool about it. But there was this one dude who was like, I don't know, looks too demonic to me. I can imagine that the player must be one of those really edgy types and his character is more important than he seems. And I'm original character, don't steal. And I was just cackling. I was like, yeah, you got me. Good job.
See, that's the kind of shit I would be. Like, boy. I guess now it's time to come out of the metaphorical D&D closet. Yeah. I love playing edgy McEdgelord characters. There's something very fun about it, and I'm aware that like the problem is I always end up playing them self-aware. So like they'll try to do the edgy thing, and then like on a fail they just fuck up in the most spectacular, ridiculous anime protagonist that wants to be an edgelord way.
Also, I'm just going to interject real quick. What on earth is people's problem with a demonic-looking tiefling? Because they're like apparently demon spawn things.
Apparently the fact that I gave him both horns and a tail and the cloven goat hooves was too much demon.
Isn't that a tiefling?
No, well the
Usually
thing about
they only have some of them.
Is that you have like one or two of those characteristics, but not necessarily like all of them. But I was like, literally my thing was I'm going all out on this because this was the first like classic D&D game. All of my other D&D games are low magic settings. And I was like, I am so tired of low magic. I am so tired of having to be a human or an elf. I'm going to go all out with this. And apparently that's edgy. So.
Wow.
I mean, fair. That sounds like you're just being an edgelord at this point.
Oh, no, totally. I'm one of those people who, when I'm role-playing, this is straight from the guy on Reddit, when I'm role-playing, I like to lean up against the wall with my hair over one eye and sigh deeply. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
I love everything about that, though. Like, why? What is wrong with that? I don't see... As long as the rest of your party's on board, like, who cares, man?
Honestly, I was just like, this guy... thinks he's hot shit, but then I was just like, yeah, whatever, man. And he tried to like pick a fight, and I'm like, that's cool. He was the only dissenter in the entire thread, so like obviously, I don't know.
Obviously wrong. Yeah.
Obviously wrong. Honestly, wrong.
Then again, artists, so like one bad comment outweighs like 1,000 good ones.
Oh man, well there were some really good ones, but mostly it was just fucking funny to me because it was wrong. Like there's some that like will really get to me, you know, where someone will be like the ones that really get me are like when someone compares my character to something else. If I didn't know it, like fucking that tiefling, he looks like the Krampus. I know he looks like the Krampus. I made the comparison. I like people in the comments were like, looks like the Krampus, and I was like, yeah, it does. I know.
That was intentional.
I did it on purpose. But like those will get to me usually. Like I have a character that I worked really hard on the design, and someone came into the comments and was like, looks like fucking Lucio from Overwatch. And I almost cried because I was like, dude, I spent like 3 hours on this shit, and you're going to tell me I knocked off Blizzard of all people? Okay.
Blizzard, the knockoff kings? No.
Yeah. Oh, sure. That was, But if someone's like, wow, you're an edgelord, I'm like, yep, thanks. Yes, you're not wrong.
You're not wrong. You have figured me out. You have broken me down to my core.
That's like, and that's the thing about D&D, man. Like, just be an edgelord. It's fun.
It's okay. Yeah. Being edgelord is the most, like, I have a game, my longest running game that's been going on, oh wow, it's been going on almost like 4 years now.
Holy Jesus.
Shit. Yeah. We played online, so like that slows it down a lot. So like, we're still only like 2/3 of the way through the actual campaign. But like my character started out as the biggest edgelord, and over time, he became a bigger edgelord. But you know what else he did? He started being aware of it. He started
as the biggest, and then he became bigger.
Yeah, but that's because it was fun, and like the rest of the party, like one of the other characters in the party is like the brightest eyed, like goodest boy on the planet, and so it's really fucking fun to like be able to play off of that and be like, nah, he doesn't give the information, we're just gonna kill him, and he's like, No, we can't do that.
Oh my gosh,
That's
that sounds
the
like a
best
campaign
fucking
of me
dynamic.
now. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna call out one of the people in my campaign, Cloud. I know you listen to this. Her character is the most innocent little druid. And I don't know if she's supposed to be as innocent as she ends up coming off, but my character is, Dan, did I ever play Garsk with you?
I've heard about it.
So Garsk, he's this half-orc. He's like my favorite character I've ever played. And he just stomps around, and now instead of having to babysit a group of people that don't always make good decisions, I have other people to make good decisions now. So I just kind of do his thing. And one of the things he does is he firstly fights for money and gets angry when people don't pay. So like I brutally killed someone who wasn't going to pay us, and she took that poorly.
Oh no.
And then I almost killed someone else who wasn't going to pay us, and she took it poorly. And it's the most fun I've had in ages, just like sitting around and being like the incredibly violent power character that
Oh man.
I haven't rolled well when I've used a weapon yet, but on the times when I've just done a fist fight, I've almost killed people because it's worked out well.
High strength rules.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no.
So what's your guys' D&D of choice? So Nina, you just started playing like a year and a half ago. Are you playing 3.5? Are you playing 4? Are you playing 5?
So I have 2 games in 5. Which are I like 5. It's really easy. It jams real well with Roll20, which is nice. So both of those games are through Roll20, but the one that I've been involved with the longest is actually Pathfinder.
Okay.
Which everyone shits on for good reason.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Oh, really good reason.
But it's fun and it works really well. It works really well for what we're using it for, so I have no problems with it. But yeah.
What about you, Noah?
I really like how overpowered you can get in 3.5. That's where Ghost came from, and I killed everything by staring at it. It was a blast, I'm not going to lie. But I really enjoy how much more balanced 5e is compared to 3.5. But those are the only 2 I'm familiar with.
Yeah, 3.5 and Pathfinder are really close to each other mechanically, to the point where I'm pissed because Pathfinder is the only thing that my DM for that campaign knows how to DM, and he wants to do another one. And we've talked about this warlock like character concept, but Pathfinder doesn't fucking have warlocks.
Really?
So you'd have to
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I've got to fucking transfer it over from 3.5, and he's really reluctant to do that. So we're really dragging our feet on it, and I'm like, why don't you just learn how to DM 5 so I can fucking play a warlock?
It's not like that big of a jump.
No, it's
or
not.
Also, you can probably find somebody that
Has done a homebrew Pathfinder warlock race. Yeah, I looked into that too, but since 3.5 is so similar, everyone on Reddit and everyone everywhere else that I looked was just like, just use 3.5. So
I mean, you probably could port it over without too much work.
Yeah, no, it's just that I need his help for it because he does some stuff. His entire stuff is all homebrew, and he wants to change some things, and he's really dragging his feet. But he is learning how to DM 5e now, so hopefully I won't even have to do that. So that's gonna be good.
So now it's my turn to flex.
Oh, go for it.
So I have played 3.5 Pathfinder. I played half the start of a session in 4. 5e, I have played, Shadowrun. I've run Shadowrun, both whatever edition we're on now and the one just before it. I've been trying to get a Blades in the Dark game together forever. I have a bad habit of I collect digital copies of RPGs, even ones I'm never going to read. I don't have my hard drive on me right now, but I know for a fact I have in the realm of 40 gigabytes worth of 50. Actually, it's past 50 now. In the realm of 50 gigabytes worth of PDFs.
Wow.
And like you guys both have computers. You understand a PDF is like a couple of megs. Like this is a collection.
Yeah, last time we talked, you had 43.6 gig, and that's incredibly absurd.
That's like a library of PDFs that you got there.
Yeah, it's a problem because it's one of those things where I know I'm never going to read all of them, and some of them aren't good, and I know that some of them aren't good. Oh, Reflections is another one I've played, but I've fallen in love with like the D&D and tabletop RPG community as a whole that like I can't help myself, and if I find a PDF that I'm like, oh, I really want to, and fucking Fantasy Flight Games is Star Wars, so many.
You got a lot.
I've played a lot of systems.
Mm.
I've read even more systems. For a couple of years as a kid, I actually would read systems for fun. I read the entirety of every, and I do mean every 3.5 source book, not like any of the campaigns or anything, but every 3.5 source book cover to cover.
Holy crap.
When I want to say 15,
Woof.
16 maybe. Yeah, it was a problem. It made my GM very upset with me at the time because, well,
because you knew more than he did.
I knew all the answers.
Oh, my brother used to do that. Not with D&D because he's never played it, but with Munchkin, which is the poor man's D&D.
Yeah,
I love Munchkin.
I love Munchkin so much.
I met my brother, so he would do that. He would read the rules, and then he would lie about them until they served his purpose, and then he'd pull out this big folder of the rules that he would have, and he would show me where it said. And finally, I was at a nerd convention one day, and the devs for Munchkin were there, and I was so fed up that I walked over, and I was like, listen, if you go looking for trouble, can you loot the room? And he was like, yes. And I said, okay, now sign this here so I can show it to my brother.
That's amazing.
I am so fucking petty. I can't deal with it. Like, I say I'm not competitive, and then I do shit like that.
That's fantastic. I love it
That
so
is
much.
the most. I respect the hell out of that. That is some petty, like I will show you kind of shit.
I still have that notebook. I still have that signed.
As you should, because it's awesome.
It's gonna come in handy one day when I'm at an official Munchkin tournament and I need it to win.
Is that a thing? I'm sorry.
I don't think so. I do not think so.
I'm trying to think
sure
how you
there
like.
are though.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past people.
Like Pathfinder Society is a thing.
Yeah, and obviously magic
weird.
is huge, but I don't think Munchkin's got. I wouldn't.
I'm trying to think how you would even.
Well, because it's such a chance-based game, I don't think that you could take a serious tournament with it. But I fucking
stop
love
people
it.
from trying.
It's the best. It's the best like game for party nights. Everyone has their board game that they pull out when they're at a party of nerds, and mine is Munchkin every time.
Munchkin's a really, really good choice.
It is. It
Also,
is hard to
like-
haul around all the expansion packs that Sammy bought, though.
Yeah, that's fair. The expansion packs are good though.
They are. Like, some of them add a whole new level to the game, which I appreciate.
I have the Cthulhu edition because I went through this huge Cthulhu kick, and you really can't mix it with the other ones.
No.
It's kind of a standalone deal, but it's very fun. Also,
Yeah.
I've been scrolling through the D&D like subreddit since you mentioned that, and I can't find your post.
Oh
and
man,
I'm
let me
very
go.
annoyed.
I'll post the link in the Discord.
Because I do want to
'Cause-
at least like put the picture up there so people can see it and be like, "Ooh, look at that!"
Ooh, look how fancy.
Look at this.
Because I remember you posted
Ooh,
about it on
look
Twitter.
at this stuff.
And
Isn't it neat?
what was it? Someone gave you like the 3D printing like
Oh, yeah, holy
information so
shit.
that you could print out your like mini and everything.
That was literally the coolest thing that has ever happened to me. Was some guy on Reddit like posted in the comments like, I kind of want to 3D model this, and I'm used to people like saying shit like that and then never doing it because I do that. Where I'm like, oh, that's a cool character, I want to draw it, and then I never do.
Oh my god, I actually saw this and did not realize it was you.
Yeah, that's me.
Holy shit.
I told you it.
Holy shit. It's wild.
I know. And so I have it 3D.
And you made it onto
printed.
our all. You didn't just top D&D.
Oh yeah.
I only ever browse all.
Nope.
That's whack. That's awesome.
It's the best a post of mine has ever done. I'm very happy with it. But so this guy was like, said he was going to 3D model it, and I highly doubted that it would come to fruition. And then about 2 hours later, he posted a link, and he was like, did it. And I checked, and sure enough, I ordered it 3D printed, and now I have a mini that is straight up a model of that picture.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I love how
That's
someone told you how to
so
say his
fucking cool.
name. That makes me really amused.
That really cracked me up because I straight up didn't know. So for people at home, the name is spelled like you should say it Damon, but since it's fucking Irish, it's actually pronounced Davine, which has thrown my entire party off. They are so mad at me, but I couldn't change his name because we were already like about to do our first session. So, well.
Hey. Party names.
He was really chill about it, though. Like, the guy who told me that it was wrong, he was just like, "Are you using the Irish pronunciation?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know what the Irish pronunciation is. Send help."
Did you decide to do the classic
corruption anglicization?
Did you just so when you're naming a character, because I'm curious, because I know I always do this, whatever I'm playing, I always tend to do like something like I'll do a random name generator like 27 times and not find anything, and then end up just going for like half of one name and half of another and just mashing them together until they work, or taking an existing name and like adding like 3 letters.
Actually, what I do, because I also write, and so I have
because you're a professional. Yeah. We get it. We're but okay.
Because I have to pick a lot of names for a lot of characters, I actually look at what the name means. For instance, Devine's name means little deer because he's got horns. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I typically pick either puns, like my ranger who should have been a rogue. Her name is Beatrix, but she goes by Trick for short, because she tricks people because she's a con woman. Get it?
I get it. I approve.
But her name is also Beatrix Sweet. So if you go with Trick Sweet, it's Trick or Treat, which adds another level to it. So I like naming things. I go all out with it.
That's honestly super cool.
I
respect the hell out of that. That's a lot more effort than I always put into my names, because I'm the kind of guy who like I don't ever want somebody to look at my character in 30 years and be like, Vader? Wait a minute, that's just father in German. What the fuck is this shit?
Or like fucking J.K. Rowling. But that's going to be me. That's how people are going to be with me, is they're going to be like, oh my god, you named your werewolf Moon McWolfface. And I'm going to be like, yeah.
Good old
yeah,
Moon.
What are you going to do about it?
That's how it is sometimes.
So,
listen.
Speaking of JK, can we do a little bit of the JK hate train? Because I want to get on the JK hate train a little bit.
I have in my other Discord server for art stuff, we have an entire channel specifically dedicated to shitting on JK Rowling. So go for it.
Honestly, fair. She deserves it.
She super deserves it.
So I never saw Fantastic Beasts, and as such, I'm not about to go see Fantastic Beasts 2. Mainly because I feel like her story, while it hasn't aged well as I've gotten older, I still think her original story pre-tampering is fine.
Agreed.
And I think the movies, with the exception of Dumbledore bitch slapping Harry around a room, are fine. However, the more I hear about Fantastic Beasts, the more I just don't understand what she's doing. Like, why is Nagini the snake now an Asian woman?
Why is she Korean when Naga are from India? Like, I could get it if you'd made her... And then she's like, oh no, it's because they're Southeast Asian. And I'm like, in what world is Korea Southeast Asia? Holy shit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna make a really hot take here. It's because she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing and she's appealing to her fans.
Wow.
Why would you say something controversial?
Like I don't want to that's the thing with like somebody in the same way that Lucas did, right? Like honestly, it's George Lucas all over again.
But see,
where like they had
George
something
Lucas
good and they
didn't say, "Oh, but yeah, Dumbledore was actually a gay Jew all along."
Well,
inclusion.
But if George Lucas wasn't a straight white dude as a product of Hollywood in the 80s, he would have.
Oh yeah, no. And here's my big problem with Dumbledore being gay. You ready? That's a real hot sentence to start.
In the book at all?
It's because that's not a problem because it's a retcon. The problem is he's not gay in the new movies, which is where she has the opportunity to make him gay. The story literally features the man he was in love with, and she's still not doing it.
He's not gay in that?
No, he's not.
How?
She's sidestepping it.
She literally stopped them from putting a line in Deathly Hallows 1. I think it was Hallows 1, where he was like, wow, Harry, she looks nice, doesn't she? And then into business. And then like she's like, oh, he can't say that because he's gay. But then here's her chance to make gay Dumbledore a full thing. And she didn't. And she still isn't.
No, and she didn't.
Why does she
honestly
not know how to...
I don't know. I'm trying to. The way you said that, it just made it sound really like Dumbledore was originally written as just this big perv, and I love the idea of Dumbledore just being a massive, like, gross old man. Like that's hysterical to me.
Like,
I
let's
don't
be
remember
real.
reading the original books.
God,
but I kind of feel like he
hate him.
was.
See, I was gonna
I
say he
hated him
doesn't
as a
need to,
character.
just because he's gay doesn't make him not a gross old man. Because look how much time he spent with Harry, making him do all his dirty work without giving him any information. Then he's like, guess he'll die, and then just
Guess he'll die then.
just walking away.
Yeah, no, that's 100% how I feel about Dumbledore. Is that he, like, no level of retconning can make me like that character.
You know who can suck the biggest, fattest dick in all of Harry Potter, though? Snape. It's Snape. Snape is the fucking worst. And I understand, and I don't want to, if you're one of the people who's like, oh, but Snape was really good in the, no, he wasn't.
No, you got it. You go off, because same.
Like, he's not. He's been an asshole. Snape was a fucking wizard incel, is what he fucking was.
Oh my gosh.
He was a fucking wizard incel, and I
feel like there's a portmanteau there. Like Wincel? Wincel?
Oh, I don't like Wincel, because that just sounds like it's a good thing.
Well, the British wizards would have some sort of really weird term for it. Then the American wizards would call him a Wincel, but okay.
Oh,
A
no
Wincel.
shade to the... God, everything
a
about...
Wincel I can live with.
Everything about how she did the American wizarding school also makes me very mad.
See, all
I
I
actually
know
don't
about
know
is
anything about the American
No-Maj,
schools.
which I like that because it makes sense.
Yeah, like, honestly...
Compared to Muggle. But then...
Muggle... Ugh.
Because it's just like, it reminds me of someone, it reminds me of my sister, actually. Once again, shout out to Edge. For when she was like 3, she had a made-up universe that we all like played along with, and all the names were like along the lines of Arimaru, and everything sounded like that. And that's what J.K. Rowling's like made-up stuff reminds me of. Is a 3-year-old trying to make up something but not being sure how, so everything is the same
Latin.
derivative of the same. Oh yeah, or it's
one or the other.
abracadabra.
Yeah, honestly. And like, as someone who's trying to create an original world, I'm like really, and like to any DM out there who's like got to do the same thing, there's 2 ways to do it. There's to do what Rowling did, but own up to the nonsense of it, which is what one of my DMs has done. Like, literally, the guy we're looking for is named Hisa Mutsabal, which, I mean, it's ridiculous.
The first, no, do you want to tell her the name of your first NPC in the game you're playing right now?
The first
Please.
NPC that I killed because he wouldn't pay us.
Please.
Oh, did you actually end up killing him or no?
Yeah, I slit his throat. It
Oh,
was
I
pretty,
beg
it
of
was
you,
pretty
tell me.
brutal. His name was Beaufort. And he had no last name. It was just a dwarf named Beaufort. But then my sister tells Dan about Beaufort, and he's like, Beaufort these nuts.
Oh.
So he's now
And
Beaufort
so his
dis
name
nuts.
is Beaufort DES space NAUGHTS.
Beaufort dis nuts.
And that's beautiful. It's just beautiful. That's what that is.
That's exactly what you need. It's either that or you it's either that naming convention where you just go all out on the
And just
bad,
have fun with it.
or you actually give a shit. And you actually like name your characters. Even then, like with D&D, the thing is sometimes even in the most serious campaign, you'll meet a gnome and your DM won't know how to voice the gnome, and he'll end up in kind of a Kermity voice, and everyone will start calling him
Kermit the Gnome here.
and everyone will start calling him Kermit the Gnome, and you'll never live it down, and he will just be Kermit the Gnome. And
I had a
that's
couple of those. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and it's one of those, D&D is such a weird thing, right? Because on one hand, like, I prefer serious games, right? And I genuinely speaking, like, I want to have fun with it, yeah, but I also, like, really enjoy having, like, oh, yeah, my character has all these plans that have nothing to do with the party, and, like, yeah, at the end of the day, his loyalty is to his plans and not the party because he's a massive edgelord, whatever. But, like, you can have really, D&D I think is so unique, and other tabletop games, but are so unique in the fact that you can have really deep, serious storylines and also have Beaufort Desnots, and like that's fine. Like you can have both.
No,
it's wild.
I think that like that's why as much I watched Critical Role ever, but I was big into the first arc of the Adventure Zone, and I think that that's what the Adventure Zone did really well, was that marriage of just it being absolutely batshit sometimes, and then yet at the end I was crying because they managed to make it really serious at points as well. It's just a weird thing, but it's good.
I think that's how you know it's a good D&D game. Like, I think that's how you know it's a good anything, is when it can balance when you can balance the humor with the heart is how you know it's good. Whether it's a movie, whether it's D&D, no matter what medium it is, it's at least in my opinion, like the best ones tend to do both. They tend to, like Harry Potter did both. Yeah. Relatively well. Like Star Wars, oh my god, Star Wars is dumb, stupid, ridiculous, but it also like at the end I literally cried every time I watched the end of The Last Jedi because that matters. Like that last shot of like the kid with the little broom or whatever, like that means something to me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's how you know it's a good whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, and there's like a balance of how seriously it takes itself too, especially with a D&D game. It's like if you follow the rules that you've set for yourself and you take the silliness seriously, like Star Wars does, like most D&D games do, then people will take you seriously too because they can tell that you respect yourself and you respect the story.
I feel like it definitely has to do a lot with like defining the rules of the universe as quickly as you can.
Yes.
Like once the rules are defined of the universe, that's to me the biggest thing. Like that's why so many people were mad at Last Jedi for like the hyperdrive scene, right? Because it kind of broke some of the rules that people thought were part of the universe.
Yeah. I love that scene so much, though.
It's beautiful.
But it's a beautiful scene. God,
I was that movie. Giddy when that scene happened.
I literally could do an entire podcast just gushing about how much I love The Last Jedi.
It's actually a really good movie. I will admit that there were parts that like
there are different problems.
But okay, and I'm gonna again come out of the proverbial closet.
Oh no.
God, I love Kylo Ren's character so much. Oh my
God, he's so good. He's so good. Anytime the two of them interacted, anytime he and Rey interacted, and he's just like this, like he's a child, like he's a little boy.
He's a little boy.
And he's like, I don't, do you see me? I don't see anyone else.
But he's just like, you.
And I'm like, I
love him so much. But here's my thing about him that I love, because I do not like Rey as a character, but there's a good reason why.
Okay.
With Kylo, he has initiative. You know, he's in that situation, but he's asking questions while Rey is just yelling at him over and over again. All she does in that movie is yell at men. That's all she does. She yells at Luke.
Oh, you're right.
And so I like that Kylo is thinking logically in that situation. He's like, wait a minute, this is weird. Let me try and figure out what's going on. Whereas Rey's just like, I'm not even going to question this. I'm just going to immediately launch into yelling at this man. So
I really like, somebody made the point at one point for me that part of the reason I think I love both of them so much is that they have the wrong storylines for each other. Rey, by all rights, she was abandoned. She had to survive as a child. She like lived inside of a wreck of a fucking Star Destroyer on a war-torn planet. Well, right, she should be a villain. That's a villain's origin story. And Kylo was the son of like
I was about to disagree,
amazing generals.
That's a good
then
point.
That was also Anakin Skywalker's origin story.
Exactly.
So I guess he did turn out to be a villain. Spoiler alerts.
They have the wrong story. Like Kylo, but Kylo has every reason to be a hero, and yet he fell to the dark side. And Rey has every reason to fall to the dark side, and yet she's ostensibly a hero. Like,
that's a really cool point. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that.
Oh God, Star Wars. God, like I said, at some point I'm gonna have an entire episode on just letting me gush madness about Star Wars, because Star Wars is so good and yet so terrible, and that's okay. It can be the worst. Star Wars is the fucking worst.
It is.
Oh my God, it's the high key the worst.
And I feel like it's like anime, where most of the fans should realize that they can shit on it and still like it. It's not like fucking Lord of the Rings. If you're a Lord of the Rings fan,
Lord of the Rings is just good.
I've never met a Lord of the Rings fan who will accept any criticism about Lord of the Rings, whereas me, I think I'm like kin with C.S. Lewis, because I'm over here like, Tolkien, why didn't you like stop at some point? Why did you have to keep going?
Yeah, I can back that.
I agree him, but I always feel the need to apologize when I'm talking about him. Like, sorry, Tolkien.
Sorry, Tolkien. Sorry, you're dead now.
Sorry, you're dead. Sorry, you were Catholic. Everything about your life kind of led up to that, didn't
it? Yeah, and it is something that I really like the anime, and that actually works. I'm going to cycle it back to D&D. Hold on. I'm going to cycle this back to D&D. Give me 1 second.
I'm ready.
I really like the comparison of like, you should love it enough but yet also be self-aware of it enough to make fun of it and understand all the terrible parts of it. Like Star Wars has really dumb like not even getting into like the things that everyone talks about, which is like, oh, midichlorians are stupid. Like how the Force has like canonically the Force has a will. It's literally called the Wills, Whills.
Also,
That's
yeah.
the storyline of the Force.
Well, also, just everything about the Force, like, literally makes no sense. They never explain how you can both move a rock with it and also shoot lightning and out of your fingertips. And that's fine.
And that's fine. And you should be okay with that. But you should also recognize that, like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb rules that make no sense, and that's okay. And it's okay to make no sense because it's dumb fantasy bullshit.
Yeah.
It's fantasy with a fucking sci-fi skin. It's not...
Just have fun.
Just have fun and enjoy the thing you like D&D, where you gotta just like it and have the fun and enjoy the thing you like. No, I was actually gonna pull it in because fandoms. You mentioned fandoms, and like I know that's Jackson's big beef with D&D. Is that he hates the D&D fandom.
I don't understand why.
See, he doesn't just hate D&D fandom though. He hates fandoms in general for ruining what he thinks he could enjoy until fandoms hit.
Are we really shading him again? Oh no.
I mean,
he's gonna listen to this.
I mean, I was defending him.
Well, no, I low key like. Okay, so here's the thing about the D&D fandom. Like I said, they make up a good most of my customer base as an artist, but I have not done a commission for someone and just had it be like our relationship was done when I was done drawing their party. Like, almost all of my friendships in the D&D sphere have started because they commissioned me and they just wanted to talk to me and they were really cool and they didn't even want to talk about D&D necessarily. They just wanted to like have a relationship with me. And I thought that was really cool. And I haven't seen that in any other fandom. So,
but you've gotten, I will, as much as I don't want to be the downer, you've gotten very lucky because the D&D fandom I recognize and the one that I used to be a part of and kind of evolved out of, thank God, is it's the same as like the like Smash Brothers community in some ways of like, no, 3.5 only.
Oh no, the gatekeepers.
Rules only.
Oh, I have
the gatekeepers.
I have fully being a woman in the D&D. Okay, I'm gonna get SJW right now.
No, do it.
Being a woman
as a woman,
you make sure like, can you go and add some like super reverb on that shit? Make it. In nerd culture in general, but specifically in the D&D culture, everyone always has a problem with me, and it's chill. I get it. I think that the reason that I block that out from my mind and I say that the experience as a whole has been good in the D&D community is because I am so used to it at this point that I just don't even clue into it. I know that like it's the same thing with video games. It's like, how do you expect someone to get good at something if you're gonna shit on them for being a noob? Everyone was a noob at one point. Just get on with your life. So
I mean, I was never a noob, but I see where you're coming from.
Same. I literally started gold plat and never went down. Never ever.
I mean,
anyone who says otherwise is a dirty liar.
Dan's played games with me before. He understands that I'm like an S tier player.
Yeah,
S plus sometimes.
I don't play a whole lot of competitive video games.
Honestly,
mostly just because I don't have the tech.
Run.
I don't because I'm very bad at them.
I don't because I can't deal with the toxicity. Like I just
the
older I get, the less
Overwatch
tolerant
player I've ever played with.
Yeah, because I don't let you play with more toxic people. Like not to be like, oh, I'm the good guy here, but a little bit like that's because I only ever play comp. Like only ever let you play comp with basically a whole team, and we never end up with toxic people.
No, you only.
That's how I've ever played like Overwatch and shit too.
Yeah, we need to rewind real quick. When you say "let me play comp," I never want to play comp. I never want to play comp.
I apologize.
I literally have always said,
I'm thinking other people.
I'm going to drag the team down. We should play anything.
You never do.
That's me.
You always say that.
That's
you never
a big
do.
Mood.
Yeah, I do. Well, and I am toxic, and I it's one of those things that like I try very hard, and I've talked to Noah about it in the past, and Edge and some others that like I know I'm part of the problem when it comes to like being a toxic competitive player, but I try very hard to recognize it and tell people to fucking call me on it because it's just a game, and yeah, I want to win, and I like being good at games, but goddamn, don't let me be an asshole about it.
That's a good mentality.
I just become a big asshole about it.
God bless you for that, for letting people call you out, because holy shit. Going back to gatekeeping, though.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the thing is, I am a huge comic book fan, as previously mentioned, especially X-Men. I mostly because my brother, he had a bunch of Avengers and a bunch of X-Men, but he didn't like X-Men, so he said I could read any of his comics as long as it was X-Men. So
that is such a weird arbitrary distinction. Like I love that. That's such an older or younger. Younger brother thing to do.
It is.
It's a brother thing to do.
It is a brother thing to do. But because of that, I have read all of the X-Men comics up through about like the mid 80s, early 90s, which is where it stops being good, in my opinion. So it's fine. Because I've read that, and because the movies kind of have been doing their own thing, it gets kind of rough when I have opinions about the movies, because people just assume that I've only ever watched the movies because, of course, I'm a girl. I don't like comics.
Well, yeah, clearly.
Oh, clearly. So
you're there for your boyfriend or something, right?
Well, yeah, I was with my brother, so clearly I was there for him, right? It was like, it was right after Days of Future Past, and the teaser was for Apocalypse. And in the comic books, those arcs have very similar starting points. They're both a like alternate universe timeline shtick. And so I was really surprised that they, right after doing the Days of Future's Past timeline, they wanted to jump right into Apocalypse. It seemed like a bad idea narratively, and I was right.
Well, yeah, because it was a bad idea.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. You know, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, but I said that in the theater. I was like, oh, what? They're doing Apocalypse next? And my brother's like, oh, that's a bad idea. And the guy behind me was like, well, you know, and he just went off. And I was like, literally, who asked you? Literally, who? So I'm used.
I love it.
I'm just so over it. Like, that was years ago, and it has not stopped since. So when it comes to D&D, I don't let those people be my friends. I don't let those people be in my circle. I don't talk to them. And I kind of, it's one of those things, like, people complain about their experience on social media, but so much of it is up to you, like who you follow and who you let follow you and who you let interact with you. I am very liberal with the block button. You say one thing I don't like and I don't care. I'll block you. I owe you nothing. So the reason that my community is good is because I made it that way.
I respect that. And I mean, on one hand, I'm sorry that you had to do that. Like, I am, because like it's fucked up that that's the world we live in. But I respect the hell that you like put the work in to do it.
It is what it is, because I can't stand people who like bitch about it but don't do anything about it. Like, it's enabling people who want to be gatekeepers to let them argue with you. And
it's one of those things where it's just like, it's hard because on one hand, and I'm sure you understand this, or maybe you don't. Maybe you're lucky and you don't have it. So maybe I'm full of shit. But like, I always have the problem of like, it almost feels like letting them win. And like, I hate that because I'm like, no, you're a garbage pile. I don't want you to be happy. And
well,
I don't know.
Yeah, no, like I definitely used to feel that a lot more, especially when it came to people who had opinions about like my OCs, because I was a total edgelord as a kid. Holy shit.
Hey.
Like, oh, if I could go back and look at some of the OCs that I had, it's painful. But I was super bullied in high school, like super duper bullied in high school. And everyone told me to ignore it for a long time. And that, I realized, was letting them win in that situation. Mm-hmm. It was. People told me to ignore it and they'd go away, but it made them legitimately, they thought I was too stupid to realize I was getting bullied. And so they got worse. Until one day I stood up and I told the guy to stop, and then he stopped. Shocking how that works. So, like, with that, yeah, in real life, but online, I don't know them. They don't know me. The arguments, it's impossible to win. Nobody wins in an online argument. Both people go away feeling either like both feel like they've won or they both feel like they've lost. You know, it's a matter of attitude. Anyone can read an online argument, and most of the time you just decide who won based on who you feel like won. Mm-hmm. So I gave up on that a long time. Again, this sounds like I'm like fucking flexing about how heartless I am, but I just...
No, it sounds like you're tired is what it sounds like.
It's something that I still have a lot of friends who get really up in arms about people they don't like online, and you just got to give up after a while. I think that's something that the internet is like, as a society, like we live in a society kind of thing. People just love canceled culture. People just love associating people with bad people so they can be mad for whatever reason. And I am legitimately over it. So I've applied that to everything now.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add. I'm just, it makes me angry and sad that like, that's just a thing that we have to deal with. You have to deal with more than I do, I'm sure, but still.
It's because it's because if you put yourself out there on the internet, you're gonna get shit. And
you mean like on a podcast or something?
Yeah, like on a podcast. Like if you decide to be a content creator, you just have to accept that there's going to be a lot of people who don't like you. Yeah. And I feel like once the people who have accepted that, like PewDiePie, like they're doing the best because they don't let it affect them.
Yeah.
Like how new? Because I've only been subscribed to him for the past like 3 years, so I guess yes.
Okay, so I subbed to him back before he was at a mill.
Wow.
So yeah, old school PewDiePie fan over here.
Weird flex, but okay.
I know, it's a really weird flex. I subbed to him back when I liked his Amnesia videos to like give context of the era.
That's me with Markiplier.
I no longer enjoy that style of his videos, but I really like this self-aware thing he has going on right now where he did an apology video review. I don't know if you watched that one.
I watched that one, yeah.
And I loved him ripping apart his own review where he's like, I was so bad at this. I'm like, no excuses can be made. And then I made lots of excuses. You can't have that.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that because he criticizes himself, but he doesn't let other people shit on him.
Yeah.
You know? He's bettering himself.
He's wrong, but he doesn't let other people tell him that he's wrong without like justification.
Exactly.
It's very nice.
Which is the difference between like him and a lot of YouTubers who really fail at their apologies because they get all like you can tell they feel really guilty at Tana Mojo, at Laura Lee, like they start crying and they start sobbing and they get too emotional and you can tell that they took it really personally and they're scrambling to get back their image, which is just sad. It's sad that like they let it get to them that much. I feel bad for them.
And you know what would really help you, like, shoot, this is really ironic that I'm losing the words I'm looking for while I'm trying to say this. You know what will really help you articulate what you're trying to say? Education. And you know how you can get really easy education?
You did it.
You know how you can get that?
Tell me.
By going to audibletrial.com/off the air for a free audiobook.
That was such a smooth segue. Holy shit.
No, don't give him credit for that. That was awful. That was the worst. How dare you?
Audibletrial.com/off the air where you can get yourself your free audiobook and a free month of Audible subscription. And if you decide not to keep it, you keep your book. That will help increase your education so easily by just sitting and listening.
Oh my god.
I had to get that in before the end of the episode.
I'm so proud of you.
I was about to say we should wrap up now, and I didn't want to put in another like recorded by myself ad breaks into this because
oh, that was so much better. Holy wow! Like,
and on this corporate
every time
shilling,
I record an episode of this, I always ask, do I really want to record the next one? Do I really want to show up next week?
Well, I guess it's time to guess that because after this wonderful, wholesome moment and then blatant corporate shilling, it's time to wrap up.
All right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, folks.
All right.
We did it. We did it, guys. All right. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys all next week.
Bye, bitch.
Bye, Dan. So, Nina, social media, anything at all, where can we find you?
If you think that I'm just talking and flexing on my art and I'm not that good, you can see for yourself and prove yourself right or wrong by following me at Nina Wolverina. That's Nina and then Wolverine, like the superhero, but with an A. And that's everywhere. That's on Instagram. That's on Twitter. That's everywhere.
Nice.
Thanks.
And you know where else it is?
Where's my trailer?
More importantly, it's also on Patreon where people can support you for as little as $1 a month.
Oh, right. I'm on Patreon. Yeah.
I was promised a trailer.
What trailer?
Where's my trailer?
I'm sorry, Dan. You're not paying us enough to give you a trailer.
God damn it. What kind of cut rate production is
You're
this?
not the star. Jackson has a trailer because he's the star.
Is he? He's not even here.
Bullshit. Ho ho host. Because it's December, you guys.
Oh my gosh, it is December. I forgot about that. Merry freaking Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy birthday to me.
Happy
birthday to me.
This is not the
Yes.
Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Calm down, Dan. This episode comes out on the...
It'll be the last episode before Christmas.
Oh,
Yes, it
shoot.
will.
It is.
Don't
Oh my
fucking lie to
gosh.
me.
Poor
Merry
Jackson.
Christmas.
He's missing the Christmas episode.
Oh, poor
I mean,
Jackson.
we'll just do a Christmas episode for next week, and it'll be a post-Christmas episode.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas is that time of year where we, like, go off on Christmas and just we're like, ho, 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 everybody. Trump said we can say
Yeah,
Merry
call people
Christmas
hoes
again.
anyway.
All that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
I loved. There was a post about. I say when people say Happy Holidays to me, I just say thank you because I'm not an asshole.
What a mood. God.
And I'm like, oh man.
And for such
was real.
insightful thoughts or insightful thoughts as you just made, where can we find
I
you?
see what you did there.
Yeah, thanks.
That was actually solid. I respect the hell out of that pun.
You know why I was good at that? It's because I went to audibletrial.com/.
God damn it! Do not.
Stop.
How dare you? How dare you shill in the middle of my plugs? You monster!
I'm having a
You
blast with
absolute
this.
monster. But yeah, guys, no, actually, do go to audible.com because we could use that money. Anyway, listen, I can shill in my plugs. You can't shill in my plugs.
Mistake.
You can find me on Twitter at Born57, Instagram at Born57, and actually, you'll be able to start finding me on Twitch starting not next week, but the week after because I'm back, baby.
Oh, hey, congratulations.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm very excited.
I believe that.
Streaming is fun.
It's so much fun.
I'm on Twitch too. Follow me there. I do art and I talk about shit.
I really do actually enjoy your Twitch streams. They're very calming.
Go watch her stream. It's probably better than literally any
Wait,
of the
you
rest of our
watch my
streams.
streams? Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh no!
I've commented. You've
you just
interacted with
spent
me.
an hour.
Well, no, I know I've interacted. I just forget who all is on there. Not that there's like a whole lot of people who watch it, but it's always oh no because I say the most embarrassing shit on my streams. So if you guys actually want to hear what I'm really like and you want to hear me talk about really bad bullshit, come watch my streams.
It's a good time.
Wait, this is what you really like? You've been putting out a front this whole time?
Yeah.
You monster. Who does that?
Yeah, I bet
Who
you
does that?
actually
Who
like
puts on-
J.K. Rowling.
People do
puts
that?
on-
They just go on the internet and lie?
Who puts on a characterization just for a podcast?
Speaking of characterization and lying on the internet,
Oh my fuck.
you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitch at Bubbadabad, Bubbadabad. And
You can also find the
That was so
podcast at
smooth.
twitter.com
Thanks.
slash the off the air, not be off the air, the
I
off the
feel
air.
like you don't actually know what you're saying.
No, I did. I literally listen. Okay, actually, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the episode. I got my wisdom teeth out last week, so it is hard for me to talk. So if for the audience, if I am slurring and difficult to understand, that's why, and I
had
apologize.
actually forgotten about that. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
you did a
You're,
good job, actually.
Yeah, you're doing a
Thanks, Dad.
great job.
And Mom, Dad, and other Dad. Dad's too.
That's
Dad squared.
No, it's okay. You can stop right there.
I've never
Dad?
been someone's dad before.
Dad?
Well, have I got news for you?
It's not good news.
It's not good. Congratulations, it's a boy.
The good news, however, is that you can go to twitter.com/theofftheair, facebook.com/OTA podcast, and patreon.com/offtheair to follow the podcast and get all those cool little updates. Like, I'll probably tweet later tonight about us recording with Nina because I meant to do it an hour ago, but I forgot.
Wow.
Good job, bud.
Wow.
I'm
So,
proud of you.
give you a shout out to our 8 followers. You could be one of those 8 followers if you follow us on Twitter.
I'm one of those
Oh,
8
man.
followers. I
You
think
are.
it's 13 now, boys, actually.
It is now
Oh, my
13.
mistake.
Yeah,
I read the wrong
you gotta
number.
open your eyes, man.
I read the following
We're
number.
we're following 8 people.
Actually-
and most of those are our hosts or guests.
Anyway, though, shout out to Nina also for being the one to give us this totally dope banner because I was far too lazy to type it up myself.
And I happen to do graphic design and freelance as well. So if you need a look, no, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna stop shilling now.
No, shill away.
Hey,
it's okay.
See, that's shilling for yourself.
This is
you can
your
do that all
time
the
to
time.
shill.
Oh yeah,
It's your time to shill.
As long as
If
you
you
mention
Shill bright like a diamond.
that at patreon.com/.
No!
Don't
You
follow me on Patreon. I don't post anything on Patreon. If you give me money on Patreon, you will be paying for nothing. Don't do it.
Hey,
do
2
give
people are
us money
doing
on
it, and that's
Patreon
what counts.
because we also don't post anything on Patreon. But man, we wish we could.
If you guys,
If
if,
we
you
start-
guys are thinking of giving me money on Patreon, I want you to go to the Off the Air's Patreon and give them the money that you were going to give me.
Yeah,
I'm so
because
cool.
Oh man, now, you understand now that like the first person to give us money, we have to be like we the podcast have to be a follower of you on Patreon. You understand that's how this works now, right?
No. What if it's me?
Yeah. Oh
then we'll
man,
follow
then
you
it's just
back
gonna
and
be
we'll
a
just
weird,
exchange the same
weird
dollar
loop.
back and forth minus Patreon service fees.
We just keep giving Patreon money. Like Patreon just keeps taking like what 25%, 10%, whatever.
Literally just giving Patreon money. Let's not do that. That's like the gift of the Magi.
Although on the subject of us never posting on this, it's literally because I don't feel like I'm bad enough at posting on Facebook and Twitter when the episode comes out. If we do get patrons, content will actually go up. I have ideas.
Oh, you didn't
about
mention
content.
the YouTube, by the way.
Oh yeah.
There's also we also have a YouTube that you can find that in the show notes.
Yeah, find it in the show notes.
Go subscribe to us on YouTube because once we get what is it?
I don't
How many do
know.
we
Jackson threw out some number for how many people we would need.
need? Yeah. After a certain point, we can actually give ourselves a youtube.com/whatever, but right now we can't because fuck us.
Exactly.
Wow.
Also, speaking of YouTube, rate and review us on iTunes because that really, really, really does help us out.
That's
And we
a
can always
biggie.
use more people listening to the dumb shit that we talk about. Google Play also works, and wherever the hell else you listen to your podcasts is fine.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. I think that's it. Is that all the plugs? Hold on. Let me check my giant like checklist of plugs.
That is. See, I told you had a loud keyboard.
Yeah, that's all of it. That wasn't my keyboard. That was literally a giant piece of paper.
It's a joke.
You're a joke. This podcast's a joke.
Wow.
My life is a joke.
I feel like I'm watching a train wreck.
Dang right you
You
are.
are part of this. A train wreck that you are on the caboose of.
Welcome
Like
to
you're
this train
involved
I
wreck.
with
can
this.
jump ship anytime I want.
You can't. You have the most freedom here.
Yep.
That makes you dangerous.
Dan, if that was you,
Wait.
you would have just disconnected from this call right then. And it would have been like, okay, I guess we're done. All right.
God,
But seriously,
all right.
thank you
Really
everyone for
dope.
listening.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Catch you guys
Yeah.
next week and whatever.
Or whatever. Enjoy your Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.